Hi everyone, I'm megumixbear, and here joined with me is AJ, or he's better known as Potatohead.
Potatohead, yeah.
So Potatohead, can you please do a brief introduction of yourself?
My name is Potatohead. That's what I go by in the fighting game community. I'm a broadcaster, or I guess as you guys like to say, casters. But I run, along with Level Up Series, we run Wednesday night fights, the Run Back, and we stream fighting games.
So he's actually really involved in the fighting game, if you guys aren't aware, and if you do follow my tweets, you see that I'm very active in trying to go to Wednesday night fights. So can you explain a little bit to people who aren't familiar more what Wednesday night fights is?
Okay, so Wednesday night fights is a weekly tournament held here in Walnut, California, and it's the best of the best of Southern California. We go here every week at Super Arcade, and we play Street Fighter AE, play Cross Tekken, all the fighting games, Skullgirls, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and KOF. So, yeah.
I believe it starts at 9:30.
9:30
Pacific Standard Time.
And I will say it is the premier weekly fighting game.
And where can we find this again?
Okay, so you can go to Level Up, or follow us on Level Up Series on Twitter, or go to twitch.tv/leveluplive.
Okay. So that's a little bit of background if you guys aren't familiar what Level Up is. It's probably the best stream to go to catch all your fighting games. They do a lot of events that they cover, not just games, but they do news, a lot of commentators. And if you're not familiar with the fighting game, they do prefer to use different vocabulary than typical esports.
Yes.
So
there's no caster booth.
Yeah, there's no caster booth. They're called commentators. So just to be respectful to the community and my guests here, I will try to make sure I use the proper lingo. What I'm going to ask is, how did you grow up, and why do you have such a passion for arcades?
Arcades were more prevalent back then, Now they're not so much. They've kind of died out, but.
And you grew up on arcades because he was like, yeah, I don't want to see arcade side because I grew up on them.
Yeah, so after school, you'd always go to the local arcade. Actually, my local arcade back in San Diego was Nickel City in Mount Carmel, and it was just a place where we'd all go to play fighting games. And I was a scrub back. I'm still a scrub, but that's where I went to play. Play with all the big kids. I was maybe 10, 11, 12 playing the arcades, and the things I would do for quarters to try to.
Yeah, like can you go more into depth? How did you get your money? How did you
Right.
get your arcade money?
How did I get my arcade money? So I would constantly lose. So I would need a lot of money to play because all the big kids, I would say, would hog the machines and beat me all the time. But
you live by a golf course, right? Or something?
Okay, so this is how I get my money to go to the arcade. I used to live next to a golf course in Mount Carmel, and what we would do is my buddy, he had scuba diving gear. So we're like 13 years old. He had scuba diving gear, so we'd go to the golf course before it opened. We'd climb the fence, and in the early mornings my friend, since he had the scuba diving gear, he would go in the ponds, and golfers will oftentimes hit balls in the pond, and he would go in his scuba diving gear and fish out golf balls. And I didn't have any scuba diving gear, so I'd be the one that would go in the surrounding bushes and forage for golf balls that people lost. And so then, as golfers would come by, me and my buddy, he's in a scuba diving suit, and I'm just like, hey, do you want to buy 20 golf balls for $5? And they'd be like, yeah, here, just $5. And then,
So did the golf course know that you did this?
No, they didn't. So we'd have to do it secretly, because if they saw us, they'd start chasing us, and that's when we have to run. So they'd eventually chase us, we'd run, and then we'd just come back. And so that's how after we get all our money from selling golf balls, we walk to the arcade. And of course, again, I suck, so I would go through $5 in like 20 minutes, but we'd hustle for like the whole day and then also I used to go around all my neighbors asking if they had cans that I could recycle for them.
So you used to go door to door?
Door to door,
knock,
knock, say hi.
Hi, I'm AJ. Here's my friend in a scuba suit. Hello.
If you have any spare cans, we can take it off your hands, and then we'd all tie like 50 bags of cans to our bikes, and you just see us.
So would it make all the crinkling
Yes,
noise?
it would, and we're just like biking
It'd be
around.
a gang of garbage bag bikes.
And we'd get maybe like $10. Then of course we'd split it half, and then we'd go to the arcade and blow it.
And then
like
each
20
arcade
minutes.
was like 25 cents, right? Arcade game, so you can
Well,
play quite a bit.
Before it turned into Nickel City, it was all quarters. It used to be Metropolis, and then it turned into Nickel City, where you pay an entry fee, and then you can pay with nickels. It's like 15 cents, 10 cents.
So $10 got you far. Even the $5 with the golf balls.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
free play section, but
Mhm.
yeah, that's where I spent a lot of my time as a kid in middle school, was going to the arcade.
So I guess you have a lot of, that shows a lot of heart if you guys aren't familiar. I mean, he really grew up on that. He has all those memories. He even went to the golf course illegally and like jumped in and was getting in trouble, chased by the guard, and still did all this. So I guess when you grew up, and you finished school and you started your job, like how did Level Up start? How did you decide, you know what, I want to bring it to the media. I want to, I have a passion for this and I want to show it to other people and, stream what I'm loving in the arcade and take that to people's homes.
Okay.
So how did that happen?
Also, there's a bit of it's called the dark ages in the fighting games, where there's like not a lot of releases.
Uh-huh.
There was maybe Third Strike was a popular game. And, through college, I'd still play at my local arcade. But then, of course, Street Fighter 4 came out, and then people called it this resurgence.
Mm.
So,
Is it because there's a lot of downtime in games that don't come out?
yeah, there was
Okay.
like nothing, no new fighting games. If there were, they really sucked.
Uh-huh.
I think the only game that kind of came out was Tekken during that time. And
Okay.
so not really the new Street Fighter, right? The thing that everybody knows. You can ask anybody on the street, hey, do you know who Ryu and Ken is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so finally Street Fighter 4 came out, and that was when everybody started getting back into it. And, of course, me too. So I was like, yeah, I want to play the new Street Fighter. I grew up playing Street Fighter 2. I found out, again, really quick that I wasn't really good at it compared to everybody else.
It's kind of funny, sorry, just side note. AJ always brags how good he is to me and says how he'll just crush me. And he's like, he's like the Flash of fighting games. And now when I get him sitting down at an interview, like all this humbleness and truth comes out. It's kind of funny.
Well, you just...
So continue with
Okay,
your...
yeah. So I played Street Fighter 4. I wasn't very good at it. But then, I met people like Alex Valle. He'd come to Wednesday night fights back in the garage, Shiggle's garage.
So actually, Wednesday Night Fights didn't start in the arcade, it started in a garage?
It started in the garage.
Oh, okay.
It started in the garage, about like 10 or 15 people playing.
Okay.
And they'd bring in their setups. Alex was there. I started learning how to stream. And we streamed from the garage. And it just kind of snowballed from there. Yeah. Now, to what you know...
So how did it move over? Because when I came in... Well, we'll discuss a little bit on how we met later.
Okay.
But I mean, when I came in, it was already at, Super Arcade. So how did that migration happen?
Okay, so we started in the garage, and we started getting bigger and bigger and bigger because we started streaming, and, there wasn't a lot of fighting game streams out there, so we
Were you pretty much the first then?
not the first, but, like,
First
the
big
most, the consistent
Okay.
every week. So,
Sure.
like, it started getting known, and people wanted to go and play because we would invite the top players from Southern California to play in this tiny garage every week. And I started streaming it, so it started growing bigger. People started coming from all over. Like, people from the East Coast would come over from NorCal. So we had to, like, oh man, we've outgrown this garage. So we had to move. We chose Dave & Buster's at the block. That was our second place. And then we just kept growing and growing. We outgrew Dave & Buster's, and then we moved to a casino, Hollywood Park Casino.
Wow.
Yeah. After Hollywood Park Casino, we went to a ballroom, the Proud Bird.
Okay, so kind of give me a number, like the viewers watching and myself. What is a number that outgrew? Like, how many people actually went to the block and you're like, okay, we need to up it and go to the casino
Okay.
and go to the ballroom?
So, like, I'd say Wednesday Night Fights at the garage was maybe 20, 30 people. That's when we're like, crap. And it was like, dang, we can't fit it. It's all shoulder to shoulder. So I went to the block. That held up for a while. That was like maybe, I'd say like 70
Mm-hmm.
was like the max at one. Casino, it stayed, pretty relatively same, 70 to 100. Same with the ballroom. Actually, we got more people when we got the big, huge space because we put more games in. So.
And how would that set up? So I'm trying to imagine about 100 people in the ballroom. So you would just clear the tables
Yeah.
that are in the ballroom because usually it's like a banquet, and then people dance. There's a side area. So would you move it all aside and then set up your own chairs, or how
Yep.
would that look like?
It would just look like just a bunch of tables with consoles and arcade sticks, and then we had a main stage.
Did you have like many TVs all over, or is it just one? Like
No.
Okay.
It was like tons of stations. It was sufficient stations for everybody.
Okay.
For all the games, and so it just looked like almost like a LAN center, but just a lot of empty space with people milling around, and then it had a main stage, of course, where you had a big projector screen and everything.
So on your main stage, did you also have casters who? I'm sorry, did you have commentators?
Yes,
excuse me.
of course.
Did you have commentators who were explaining the game as well? And how did that start trafficking in? Like,
Yes.
did people volunteer? Like, hey, I would love to be able to commentate and raise the bar at these events. Or...
So the funny thing is, if James Chen is watching, this is actually how James Chen got started. Was I was just at Wednesday Night Fights. This is in the garage. So James has been with us since the garage and Ultra David. And I was just like, so I set it up, and I'm not very good at casting. Now I'm using casting.
He's not even good at okay, Party foul.
I'm not good at commentating. So I was like, hey, does anybody want to commentate? And James was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And then James every week just started developing his skill and style in commentating. And then David, we tried him out commentating for our first tournament at the block, and he's very well spoken. I guess you have to be if you're a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
So he's very well spoken, knowledgeable about the game. So and then we just put those two, and they just became Ultra Chena.
Yeah.
And they've been with us since the beginning in the garage, and they just kind of developed from there. And everybody always asks, how do you get into castings?
Commentating.
And it's just like...
I got your back.
you just gotta, I don't know, be at the right place, right time. But I would tell them just to practice and do what James and Ultra David did, just kind of keep doing it and develop your style over time.
I think that has to go with any type of game, if you're commentating or casting, whichever terminology you prefer to use. You just have to get on it, and just like with anything in life, I guess that applies. If you really have a passion and you want something to go forward, just like you wanted to share streaming and broadcast it for everyone to enjoy your passion. You just started, and you guys pioneered it in the garage, and all the way to the garage to the block to the casino to the ballroom, and then to the ballroom went to Wednesday Night Fights.
Yeah, so the ballroom. Well, this is what Alex will tell you.
Yeah, so how did it transition? You're kind of like teasing me a little bit on the migration.
Alex,
so how did it get to the point where I'm like, hey, I want to show up to this Wednesday Night Fights, and boom, it's a Super Arcade. How did that officially happen?
Okay, so it's a bit of a nice little circular thing where it's like, okay, where did we start off when we were kids? Alex, he started off in the arcade. Almost everybody did, and then when Arcade Infinity closed, that kind of was a sad day for everybody, because that was the central hub for SoCal Street Fighter.
And where was that located?
That's in Roland Heights.
Oh, Roland Heights.
Roland Heights.
Okay.
And so, okay, how can we regain the arcade spirit back? Holding an arcade where we all played, and that's where it is now. We're trying to really create that arcade feel. That's why we call it Arcade Edition. Wednesday Night Fights Arcade Edition.
Yeah, so they also go by that hashtag
WNF 80. Yeah, it used to be just WNF, but then when we moved to the arcade, we're like, okay, it's WNF 80. Just like the game.
So if you guys are ever interested or have any questions, you should tweet with that hashtag, and AJ would be kind enough to reply, correct?
Right, or maybe show your
put
tweet.
That pressure on him.
Put your tweet on air.
So if you guys have never watched it, their production is awesome, just from my point. I guess we'll go a bit to how we met. How did we meet?
Okay, so...
I heard this loud person.
What was it? I was at the CSL.
Yeah, I was casting.
Yeah,
and
she
we can
was
say casting because I was doing StarCraft.
Okay, so I was at the Collegiate Star League, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna check it out. And because Gunrun was there, and Gunrun is a buddy of mine. I want to say hello.
If you don't know Gunrun, he saves all streams. He works for Twitch, and he does an amazing job.
So I was at the CSL, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna check out what is it? This is a local StarCraft event, right? This is not huge MLG IPL stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna check it out, and it was at UCI where we held SoCal Regionals. So I went there to visit Gunrun, say hello, And then I started watching the StarCraft stuff, and I'm like, this is kind of boring. There's nobody doing this.
Ouch.
This is like not hype at all. So.
Man, those bad casters at that time.
No,
What
it wasn't
was
the
she
caster.
doing?
It wasn't the caster. It was the crowd.
Okay.
The crowd I was watching with, and I was just sitting there. This is boring. So I said, okay, how can I make this exciting? I just started going crazy. I'm like, you suck, or I don't want to cuss. I was literally not cussing.
I told them megumixbear is cursing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just started getting really hype and yelling, and then all the StarCraft people were like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? You two, you're like on the stream, like, there's this really, really loud guy just going
No,
on.
see, I was actually saying it because, to be fair, the stream chat for StarCraft was complaining about this loud guy. So to counter that, since I try to be the peacemaker of everyone, I was like, wow, there's a guy. He's so excited. He's so excited. And he loves StarCraft, and the audience is just lifting off from him. He's louder than everybody else in the room. So everybody else, please, step up your game. And he started getting everybody a bit more pumped. But to be honest, everyone was very taken aback by him.
I was heckling.
Yeah.
I was just trying to get everybody hyped for the matches, and
he was probably 30 feet away, but they still heard him on my mic when I was casting. And I had a headset with the cast.
And I was just like, yo, your school sucks. Go back to Nevada. And, and just making fun of everybody's StarCraft names and stuff.
Nobody, he shocked everyone. They didn't even know how to react.
Yeah, everybody was just like...
Giving you dirty looks.
Dirty looks. And
they're like, you have no class, sir.
No class. And then let me tell you, in the fighting game, this is just like... I'm tame. Right? There's worse people than me. So, okay, that's and then I think we all went to go eat dinner.
Yeah.
Afterwards, and you just kind of knew me as the obnoxious, really loud.
Hey, I still ate with you guys when I was kosher. That's nice.
Yeah, because then I was with Gunrun, and then I was like, yeah, you should. Everybody at the it's all StarCraft people. I'm like, you guys should come out to Wednesday Night Fights. Yeah. I was like, everybody retweet this to get Trisha.
megumixbear, come to
Wednesday Night
Fights. And at that time, I met him, so I obviously, heard his conversation. He was nice enough to invite everybody there. And I was like, oh, I'll stop by maybe, because I'm from LA. So, yeah, I was streaming at that time, and everybody on StarCraft was messaging me on BattleNet too, because I guess, people play both StarCraft, not starting games.
Starting games.
Yeah, fighting games and StarCraft. So we have a mixture of that, and everybody was like, "Go to." I was like, "What is this? What are they telling me to go to some arcade?" And then I saw the tweets and was like, you know what? I said that I would check it out, so I want to keep my word. And then I went. I already fell in love the first time I went. Everyone's so cool. AJ's so awesome. The commentators that he's mentioning, James David. They do a phenomenal job. They're really nice. And then you have Alex Valle, who's a legend, and you also have James Justin Wong.
Yeah,
he's probably the current legend right now. And Kara, amazing photographer.
Shout out to Kara, who also likes to troll esports events with me with her Rosella.
And then I met Monica, and I just met really awesome people from the fighting game, and I liked that culture where no one was really shy, and I got to talk to everyone face to face, and I got to play a little, and when I play, I get to, it's not like online where you have that bar of a desktop or, the web. It's face to face, and I get to meet them and just chill, and we taunt each other in a fun way. So from that first meeting, I loved it. I got trolled because he just put me on blast.
I put her on stream, actually.
I got on,
yeah, put on blast on the stream.
He was like, and now we have a special guest. megumixbear will commentate our game. And I was like, no.
It's like, do it, it's fun, yeah.
I was like, hi. I don't know anything about this game. I'm just being honest, and I took an honest approach, and I was like, I'm sorry. And we try to make it fun and make it esports and cast it
But Stream Monsters will be.
But they don't like casting. They only like commentating, so they didn't find it humorous. So after my first event, I wanted to redeem myself because I never want to come in a community and be disrespectful. So I didn't want to be that girl where I just came in once and tried to commentate and then got destroyed, and then be like, okay, fine, I quit. Never
that was
coming
my
back here
fault.
again. No.
That
It
was
was
my fault.
all fun. And then because of that, I was like, you know what, I'm going to try harder, step up my game, and people who don't like me here, I will show you. Like, I will put dedication. So I've been coming here, and those of you who only follow the fighting game by reputation, you should give it a shot yourself, really. Then just judge off the stream monsters. They have something called stream monsters because the people in their chat can be a little
Yes.
just more interesting.
More interesting.
Yeah, they're just a bit more interesting.
That's stream monsters. The term first started off as a demeaning term, but then it just kind of grew into just anybody who watches at home.
Yeah.
They became stream monsters.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes people can argue they're a little bit harsh, but
they're a little more. The word we like to use is raw.
Raw, yeah.
They're a little bit more raw than I noticed in StarCraft chats. I mean,
are heavily modded.
They're heavily modded. They will ban you for using all caps and stuff. And then if you go to a fighting game chat, it's
all caps.
Raw. They won't ban you for using caps. People will. Yeah, it's a little different.
But that's what's fun. So you guys should check it out. Don't judge just by the book by its cover.
I think we had some negative press lately, but if you really take some time to get to know the fighting game community, it is genuine. It is fun. It is hype.
Yeah.
It's not, what a lot of the press make it out to be very misogynistic. No. We are very accepting. We're the most ethnic group, I think.
Well, just to be fair, you can't really represent, the online persona compared to the people you actually meet. So, you always have that difference. And I think that goes, across the board for any type of game. Right, and some people would act a certain way online compared to in person.
Right.
Where can we follow you and support you personally? And also, can you plug in Level Up once again?
Okay, follow me on Twitter at Potatohead, and you can follow us at Level Up Series. But then, if you want to watch, usually our rule is if it's live, it's Level Up Live, and our website is levelup-series.
What time do you guys?
Oh, right.
Live?
So on Wednesday nights, we go live usually 9:30.
And then what are you covering on Wednesday?
Wednesday nights is, right now, Virtual Fighter 5, Final Showdown, and Street Fighter AE.
Okay.
But then we have other tournaments that are not streamed. So
that's within it. If you guys do go and you're ever in LA, do definitely come. They have, a lot of, what is it called, betting?
Side bets.
Side bets. Can you explain that really quickly?
Side bets are, I guess, what the term should be is prop bets. We just bet on stupid stuff when we're bored. And funny thing is, we actually did that at NASL, and got a little trouble for it because everybody was like, "What the hell are you doing?" But it's just okay. We bet on stupid stuff like when will the match end, odds or evens, or who would get the first hit, or it's just dumb stuff.
Like they do it on their stream sometimes.
Yes.
And when I go away, it's like, okay, when megumixbear goes, be right back. Will she come back with a drink or food?
I lost money on that one. But the funny thing is that at NASL we did, there's a lot of TVT. So in the crowd, me, Ultra David, a bunch of other fighting game people, we start betting because we're watching and we don't know. I mean, we honestly don't know what really StarCraft could play. So we're just trying to entertain ourselves. So we started betting on who would show a liftoff building first. Who would get the first kill? It's funny because Sean and DJ Wheat were on stage.
Sean is Day 9.
Day 9. So somebody would just lift off their command center, and you'd hear in the crowd, "Yeah!" just yelling and stuff. And then I could see Sean jeering at us, like, "Why are they yelling? They just lift off the command center."
Confused, yeah.
And you could hear us over the stream, apparently. So when we saw it on Reddit, we're like, "Why are people yelling at weird times? And why are they getting?" We were just entertaining ourselves, trying to figure out how to side bet StarCraft. And we just first drop. So whenever we see a first flying unit, so one time on the screen we just saw a drop ship, and we're like, "Yeah!" And then DJ Wheat and they're like, "Why are they getting hype?"
But then they actually spoke to you guys later, and DJ Wheat participated in the bet.
Yes,
right?
Yes. Oh yeah, and when they did that runway thing, we were betting on who would get to the stage fastest. So we're just cheering them on, and yeah, it's just
when they're doing their entrance.
Yes.
Yeah. So see, they do a lot of things. So even if you're not that familiar with fighting games, you can still participate.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, all the StarCraft people started participating with us. after they saw Wheat come up to us and make side bets, it's like, oh, this is not bad. This is a valid thing. Let's do it. Then that's when they started doing side bets with us and participating. So just a little bit of the fighting game culture was.
And Evo's coming up.
Evo is coming up, the biggest fighting game tournament in the world. It's in Las Vegas. I believe it's July 5th through 8th.
Okay. So if I were to probably, I guess, follow Level Up on Twitter, would you guys kind of be announcing it and give us the news and, update us when Evo is and when big tournaments are?
You can also follow Evo at Evo2K.
Okay.
But yeah, we always tweet about what's going on with Level Up and when we're going to have special events, tournaments, and whatnot.
So make sure. So it's Level Up on Twitter.
It's Level Up Series on Twitter.
Level Up Series on Twitter.
Yeah.
And what is your Twitter?
My personal Twitter? Potatohead.
Potatohead. So you can tweet at him and ask him any questions you like.
Sure.
And also, so 9:30 Pacific Standard Time.
Pacific Standard Time. That's Wednesday night fights, and then the following day, since there's so many fighting games, we have to do Thursday nights too. It's at the same place. That's when we stream Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and King of Fighters, and that's also at 9:30 on Thursday.
Okay.
The Run Back is what it's called. I'm sorry.
The Run Back.
The Run Back.
So now you guys have the whole history of Level Up, I guess, in a nutshell, and background of AJ. So really support them. I can't stress it enough. It's coming from people who really do have a passion, really care about your game. So thank you. To me, I love to support people who actually care.
And thank you for stopping by and promoting Wednesday night fights. And I'm glad.
I try to do segments. I love fighting games personally, and just the people. Everyone I met, I consider them good friends now. So, yeah.
And she even competes. Some people gotta come in here and compete. Like Julian, he comes there, he doesn't play, but she's 0-6. Wednesday night fight. 0-8. 0-8. There you go.
Maybe 10. Let's be honest.
You did get a round off Kino.
No, I was. Oh, I did.
You did. She did get a round off Kino.
Hey, Kino's pretty good. You have to admit, I can beat him at StarCraft. That's all that matters.
He's actually pretty.
I was like, "Hey, you play StarCraft?" But he's too scared to play me. It's okay. Once I get, I have the Japanese blood.
Yeah. See, you're playing the wrong game. The Koreans play StarCraft. The Japanese, they play fighting games.
Yeah.
And that's built into their blood. They're automatically good.
So just give me like
a day, and you'll be.
I was gonna say a year, but a day. A day sounds good, and I'll be pro. Okay, so we're gonna end it here. Thank you very much, AJ.
Thank you for having me.
And yeah, now you guys can support him.
I can cross my legs.
They can't see your hairy legs. Okay. So, AJ killing esports.